Mike asks, "Hi, I was wondering why my wife's vagina would smell bad after sex." That's a great question, Mike. I'm going to answer that and more in today's video. Hi, I'm Caitlin B, sex and relationship coach, and I have a YouTube channel, obviously, and you ask really great questions, and sometimes they get skipped over because there's a lot of questions out there, but I thought I would take the opportunity to answer some listener, watcher, subscriber questions today. And if you want your questions answered by me either today or in a future live stream or via one-on-one coaching, please smash the subscribe button and ding the little bell. Ding, 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 ding. That sounds like a masturbation joke. Ding the bell. Just ding it. So that you will get notified every time I post a new video that may potentially answer your questions next. All right, let's roll. All right, I got a lot of questions recently about smelly vaginas, which I think makes sense because I've been posting a lot about oral sex. Or it might just be that smelly vaginas are happening. I don't know. Anyways, I thought I would jump in with why do vaginas get smelly, especially after sex? Well, almost all vagina odor is caused by an imbalance of yeast and bacteria, or an imbalance in the pH. Vaginas and vulvas have a super specific pH level that they like to stay within, and they are sort of like a closed ecosystem. So when something enters that is of a different pH, it can knock everything off, often causing a smell. Another reason that vaginas sometimes smell is that they may have a bacterial infection, such as bacterial vaginosis, which likely can be transmitted sexually between partners, or they could have another common STI, which is called trichomoniasis. This has a very unique scent, very pungent odor that it causes in most women, although of course there are women who can have it without displaying any symptoms at all. And it requires treatment by a healthcare professional. Now, a couple other reasons that a vagina might smell. Number one, she left in a tampon. That can happen and it can be horrible, let me tell you. Now, another common reason that vaginas get funky is because you had sex without a condom. One of the other reasons that vaginas get funky is because you may have had sex without a condom. Semen, like other things, is a different pH than the vagina. It causes that closed ecosystem to have a change in balance, thus causing a smell. Sometimes also vaginas get stinky because they don't get enough airflow. I personally am a huge fan of just not wearing panties. Problem solved. But if you like to wear panties, or if you need to for work or whatever, you could wear cotton panties, or if you're wearing silk and acrylic panties, the really cute ones, the fleecy thongs, and they're all up in there. Try changing them out for cotton or a more breathable fabric so that your vagina can experience some awesome airflow, which all vaginas need. They love it. Really specifically, I'm talking about the vulva, which is the outside of the vagina. One remedy that I highly recommend after getting checked out by a gynecologist or a healthcare professional, of course, is a boric acid suppository. They work to help your body, in some instances, to regain its balance and the correct pH level. Also, if you just have an ongoing sort of funky pussy situation, it may be more about your diet and your body's relationship to yeast, candida, and sugar than it is about anything else. Changing up your diet should ultimately, over a period of time, change the flavor of your vagina or your partner's, and in combination with boric acid can lead to a very, very pleasant, even just sort of neutral taste. Also, it's very important that you know that there's nothing wrong with your vagina. Make sure that it's healthy, but scent is scent. It's not the end of the world. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Some of us just are different flavors than others. Mother Nature is good. Moving on. Dudenfunction Nixon Heisenmaske Maxim asks, can you do it 3 times a day? I assume by it he means sex? Yes. Motivation 666 says, if you already have premature ejaculation because of years of watching porn, can you reverse its effects and go back to normal? Thank you. Yes. Motivation 666, you absolutely can reverse premature ejaculation that is caused by masturbating to porn, often masturbating furiously and very quickly to get yourself off before you get caught watching porn. If that describes your situation, I highly recommend that you check out my premature ejaculation masterclass, which is called Come When You Want. In it, I walk you through my exact step-by-step method for ending premature ejaculation. And if for any reason it doesn't work for you, it comes with a money-back guarantee. It's like you literally cannot lose. And honestly, the number one thing that anyone says to me about that class is that it was the best money they ever spent. When they watched their wife or girlfriend's face when she suddenly realized that sex was gonna last more than 5 minutes. Anyways, you get a money-back guarantee. It's a win-win situation. You literally cannot go wrong, and you can definitely go right. Motivation 666. I believe in you. Felix Shave says, what if it's really, really, really smelly? Vaginas and vulvas vaginas. Another reason that pH level and imbalance in yeast and bacteria. Next, what if your woman changes after childbirth? Says Chris Burner. What if a woman changes after childbirth? Well, presumably she's going to change after childbirth. She goes from being who she was before to who she was after, but also now she's a mother. And her body has gone through some pretty significant changes. Hormonal, physical, her emotional connection to you and to this new baby is very, very powerful, can be very intense, can also be coupled with some serious negative emotions, postpartum depression. Yeah, women are definitely going to change during childbirth. I can't imagine how bringing a human being into existence wouldn't change you. I think the question that you're asking is her sexuality has changed after childbirth, her desire, her libido. Just know that this is absolutely normal, especially in the first year after giving birth to a child. And even after that, if she's doing a lot of childcare and she always has a baby or even a toddler kind of like attached to her, by the end of the day, she can be pretty exhausted from just being touched. She might not want to touch at all anymore, and you might be touch starved because the baby or the toddler is getting all of the touches and all of the cuddles and all of the attention and all of the affection. And that's really, really challenging. And we don't talk about this nearly enough. So I'm glad that you brought this up, Chris. My hope for you is that you and your wife can seek the help of a coach or a therapist. You can communicate openly and honestly about the importance of touch and sex in your relationship, and in a way that is constructive and doesn't leave people feeling like they've been rejected or that their needs are not important. Professional guidance in this area is key, so I highly recommend that you look for an objective third party who's a professional who can help the two of you to navigate the situation. This is a good one. Derek Frechtner said, what can I use for a sex toy around the house? Derek, what can't you use? Think of the books on your nightstand. That could be used to flog. That could be used as a bit. It could be used to give spankings. It could be used as a dominance to make her or your partner or him walk across the room with the books on their head, and if they don't, they get a spanking. You could use a fork in a really even get that fork hot or cold and press it into their skin, being careful not to burn them, of course. You could use a dish towel as a blindfold. One of my personal favorites is to use cucumbers as insertables. The term pervertible has sometimes been thrown around. I can take no credit for that. Electric toothbrushes, often the cheapest kind of vibrator that is available. Very, very pervertible. I'm just like looking around to see what I already have in my house. Scarves can be used to cuff hands, depending on what kind of toys you have in the garage. Zip ties can be placed around the corners or the posts of a bed, and then scarves can be run through them and then I wouldn't zip tie your wrist. That could be pretty painful. But perhaps if you're into that and you've had a consent conversation, you know you're doing it safely, by all means. I guess the moral of the story is that with a little creativity, just about everything can become a sex toy. Maybe we'll do a future video on just that. Side note, if you decide to use a cucumber, make sure that you washed it really, really, really good. And even then, maybe you want to put a condom on it. I just don't know where those things come from, you know, unless you grew it in your own backyard, which I did do that one time. What else we got? Is oral sex safe? Says the Phenom. What about STDs? So no sex, except for solo sex, masturbation, could be considered totally safe. There are always risks. Viruses, parasites, bacteria. I mean, we are a treasure trove of organisms that we have just evolved to pass back and forth between us. And oral sex is, just like any other form of sex, an opportunity for infectious diseases and infections and all that good stuff to pass between person to person. Now, that said, that only is a risk if the person who is receiving or even giving the oral sex has an STI. So the only way to make sure that oral sex is safe for you is by making sure that you and your partner get tested. No sex is completely safe. Almost all sex can be made more safe. If we're talking about oral sex on a vulva or even on an anus, I recommend using a dental dam, which is an often square piece of latex or even non-latex material that's very thin but prevents the spread of liquid between partners. Therefore, viruses and parasites and bacteria can't go back and forth. The way that you use it best is by putting a little bit of lubricant on the receiving partner's body and then laying the dental dam over it. It will help to transmit heat and sensation between the tongue haver and the vulva haver. Now, obviously, for oral sex performed on someone who has a penis, you can use a condom. That's what flavored condoms are for. Please don't use flavored condoms inside of your vaginas. They don't need flavoring. They taste great, as we went over already. Alicia says, do you have a video about how to have an orgasm for women? No, I don't have that video, but that's a great idea. MM3454, your videos are awesome. Where did you study and where are you certified from if someone wanted to study? Oh, bad news, M454. I don't have a place that I can truly point you to. This wealth of information has been acquired since like the age of 14 when I decided that I was going to help people to have better sex for a living. I became really, really interested. I have a whole library of books just over there and more right there and even more that you can't see that are just off camera in my bedside table right there. I have a master's degree in public health from Indiana University of 1 year towards a doctorate in public health at the University of Texas School of Public Health. I've been a study coordinator at the Center for Sexual Health Promotion. I have been a certified health education specialist. I'm a certified erotic blueprint coach. I've got some other things. At one point I had like a whole bunch of letters behind my name, but none of those things taught me what I know today. What I've learned today is a process of gaining information by attending conferences, listening to smart people, listening to podcasts, reading great books, and a lot of great books. Reading them with other people so that I could compare notes and kind of take that learning even deeper. Enrolling in classes like the Erotic Blueprint course, and just generally geeking out. And I will say one other thing. I got a lot of this experience by talking in front of other people in small groups and making a lot of mistakes. In fact, I'm sure that if you went through this video, you found a mistake. I mean, it's painfully true that there's so much information in sex and sexuality, and I don't have a human fact checker available to me yet. Apply for that position below. Follow me around and call me on my bull. Don't apply for that. The moral of the story is that if you want to help people to have a better sex life, start with yourself, start with the information that is available. There is a lot of it, and never, ever, ever stop. I'm still learning stuff all the time. Odid Ilani asked, how do you communicate your love of experience with sex in a way that is more inviting than stressful? For example, if I would have an opportunity to be with a highly active female, I might find it stressful, like I have big shoes to fill, or something similar regarding expectations. How would you approach this subject, both from your perspective as a gorgeous active lady, hey, and from someone who might be intimidated by the expectations, self-imposed as they may be? Great question. Wow. This is such a common situation for men. Honestly, probably every single person that I've one-on-one coached who's getting into a new relationship has had the exact thought. So you're not alone. There's so much comparison between men. Who's the best lover? Did he give her more orgasms? Was he bigger? Was he more powerful? Did he have more stamina than I did? And to which I will say, comparison is the thief of joy. Just because you've had sex with one woman and you did a good job with that doesn't mean that you're great at sex. And just because she's had sex with other men, and maybe she's had sex with a lot of other men, doesn't mean that any of them were good at it. What actually matters is that you bring your A game to this experience right now. The truth is, your body's gonna change day in, day out. Her body's gonna change. The context in which we're having sex changes. The most important thing that you can do is endeavor to be a great lover by bringing your full presence, not taking away some, oh my God, thinking about this other guy that she was with, which drains you, puts your energy over there instead of right here with her, and bringing the skills and the know-how that you have acquired over time, whether you've acquired it through being with a lot of women or you've acquired it by learning about women, their anatomy, the things that turn them on. If you're interested in taking a very deep dive, I made a whole masterclass on seduction, foreplay, penetrative sex, and aftercare. It's called She Comes Too. I will link to it in the description. It truly is my masterpiece. It's 4 masterclasses in one, and it will walk you through every single thing you need to know to be the best lover she has ever had, even if you are the 1,000,000th lover that she's ever had. You can be the best, even if you've never, ever had sex before with anyone, except for yourself. I got you. Let's take one more. Ben McPhee says, what's a tip to finish quicker? I sometimes last too long, which sounds cool, but often isn't. So Ben, it sounds to me like you have a condition that is called delayed ejaculation, which is just when a man is not able to reach orgasm with a reasonable amount of time and a reasonable amount of stimulation, or in the time that he and his partner want him to be able to ejaculate. The ironic thing about delayed ejaculation is that often we go to more pressure, more intensity, more speed in order to get over the finish line. One way that most men probably figure out how to do this on their own is by tensing up their bodies, sometimes tensing up their entire bodies, everything squeeze, and trying to build up as much tension as possible in order to force their bodies to ejaculate and to have an orgasm. I highly recommend going in the complete opposite direction. I believe it is often the case that we actually need to slow down and experience the heightened access that we have to pleasure in any given moment. Now, caveat, if you have tried that and you've tried the other way and neither of them work, what I have found through my own experience is that delayed ejaculation is often caused because we are not getting to what is actually the biggest turn on available. So I've worked with a client once who had some very kinky fantasies about his fiance at the time and was not able to reach orgasm. He also wasn't allowing himself to talk to his fiance about his kinky fantasies. And this sort of like desire to be kinky paired with the shame about being kinky, paired with the expectations of like what a good fiance and what a good husband provides and the orgasms and all this just built up a pressure, and instead of going towards ejaculation, his body found him going away from it. And guess what? As soon as he learned how to tap into his body, feel the pleasure that was there in the moment, often by being still, breathing, turning up the sensation as opposed to turning up the heat and the speed and the friction and the tension and the in combination with allowing his fantasies to become a part of his relationship, and boom, he found himself finishing every time. All right, if you want more from me, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Give your girl a like if you enjoyed this, and if you want me to answer a question for you in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you, and I'll see you next week.